Hey, thanks, Crofty, for announcing us there.
And again, right?
Again. It's like this guy has so much free time. Every time we want to go live, we just say, "Crafty man, 4:30."
Flat out
He's
fever.
there. He's here for us.
Guys, welcome to Flat Out Fever Podcast 114. The date is July 5th, 2017, and today we're going to be going over the Austrian Grand Prix, the non-penalty issued by the FIA, some more little tiddly bits, and finally, don't forget about F1 at Betty's this weekend, July 9th.
That's Sunday. Yes.
On Sunday.
Sunday.
2 p.m. pre-race, 3 p.m. show, and we'll have a podcast afterwards.
All right, let's get at her.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on. So,
Pitter patter.
yeah, pitter patter. Let's get at it. So, FIA
Made a decision.
Yep. So remember, we were here sitting in this very room not too long ago, and we were talking about how they were surely, I mean, Jesus, because that was like pretty clear cut and dry. We're gonna have like some sort of penalty.
I said many times I did believe he would get a race suspension. But I think what he got is kind of more appropriate. I guess I fell in with a little bias, but with those two, I don't know. With those two guys, for me, I feel for the most part 0. But I think what a lot of the people that really wanted to push for the re-examining of the incident were on the side of Hamilton, who didn't get the advantage he otherwise would have without the headrest flap coming loose. But like I said, we all said last week, you know, you can't base a penalty on another person or team's luck.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't-
That's exactly right.
Vettel was punished
Yes.
against everybody except Hamilton because his team fucked up and didn't lock down the headrest. That's
Okay, I understand. Okay, no, sorry. Keep going.
all. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so here's the counterpoint to that. Now, the one thing that shouldn't happen either is, and then they shouldn't be up for discussion, is the ruling of the stewards. Because if you start, then again, after the stewards make a decision, then you're gonna start calling everything to question. That is not right.
Yeah,
Now
you can't.
Now this may have been, and that I guess that's what some people's points was. This may have been like a situation that needed a further look. You know, no system is infallible. Like, come on, let's come to our senses, people, or whatever. Like, there's something needs to be done to like curb this behavior, because at the end of the day, or at least, I mean, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I honestly, I'm not discussing an opinion, but it is like the thought that most people have, or like the thought that some people have, that professional athletes at the highest level should behave a certain way. I don't know if I believe in that. Like, you know what I mean? I there's, you know, because I'm all for the sport to have a personality, but there is at least a certain amount of. Listen, Vettel did that in the heat of the moment. I still think that he should, like, if at the very least, he should like make like cattle prod him to come out and like admit it like a man.
Yeah.
People kill people in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, you know, like they brake checked me.
I just shot him a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I don't know, man. It's the heat of the moment, right?
But on the back of that, though, the other point that was brought up last week in the public, and then we talked about, was right after the race, Vettel was asked, how do you think that this looks to young kids and teenagers who are looking to move up and race in Formula One day, the pinnacle of motorsports? And he goes, F1's, I think, is a sport for adults. Like, come on, man. It's not. It's absolutely not.
And he got it there as a kid. Like, he may not think that, like, when he joined Formula One at age 19, he was that much older than Max Verstappen, but he wasn't.
Yeah, but he's our age now, and anyone who's in their 30s at least, you're gonna look at yourself when you're 19 and be like, yeah, I was a kid, I was retarded.
Yeah, but so was he.
You don't know anything. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's the same age.
Yeah.
And if he looks at himself as a 19-year-old, obviously you have to think the same thing.
Yeah.
I think people often, sorry, a brief point. I think people often forget that, like, and it's something I noticed when we met the Marshal. which
Yes.
was, it's like these are people, not gods.
Right.
You know, like the way
Yeah.
they spoke about them was like, oh my god. When I was waving the flag, he looked at me. I was like, whoa, dude. Like,
Yeah, this is just
fucking-
some dude.
please don't like. And I feel like a lot of people, sports people, musicians, whatever it is, like they look at them like idols, right? And like
course.
they're above humanity to some sort of degree.
But people need their heroes, right?
Yeah,
and so some people, yeah,
absolutely.
you know, like there is something to be said about that as well.
Right.
But I don't know if like people's perceptions have been changed about that.
Right.
I think most people are moving away from that anyway.
Right, but and again, the reality is that like they're just human beings like the rest of us. You know,
Off
with
of
all
your
those-
point there, though, the punishment was increased,
Right.
and
So there was a tweak.
and
Oh, there was a tweak.
in that vein as well. He's been given community service to perform.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what does that entail?
Can you look this up quick? Because
Sure.
I don't actually know how many hours or anything or what specifically he has to do.
Oh,
But he's been given some community service.
like go interact with the fans like by
Not-
force.
It's nothing with the fans. I
Pick
think.
up garbage at the side of Baku.
Yeah, community service for Sab.
Yeah.
So yeah, see what he's gotten. But you're right. Like I guess I was in the heat of the moment too when we were talking about it. Maybe he shouldn't get a black flag. If he was given a black flag in that moment and kicked out of disqualified from that race, no, like
Heads would roll.
a lot of people would have had to agree with it. Again, because the stewards agreed,
Yeah.
and then people would have Hamilton would have like passed him and gotten higher probably. But I don't know. The decision is now settled and rested,
Yes.
and these guys can get back to fighting on an evil playing ground. Evil playing ground.
The evil playing ground that is Formula One. All right, fine. So bottom line is Vettel should still, like, for the benefit of
released a statement.
himself. He did.
Yeah. So it says, "Dear motor racing
Mea
fans,
culpa.
concerning the incidents of Baku, I'd like to explain myself. During the restart lap, I got surprised by Lewis and ran into the back of his car. With hindsight, I don't believe he had any bad intentions. In the heat of the action,
course not.
I then overreacted, and therefore I want to apologize to Lewis directly, as well as to all the people who were watching the race. I realized that I was not setting a good example. I had no intention at any time to put Lewis in danger, but I understand that I caused a dangerous situation. Therefore, I'd like to apologize to the FIA. I accept and respect the decisions that were taken at today's meeting in Paris, as well as the penalty imposed by the stewards in Baku. I love the sport, and I'm determined to represent it in a way that can be an example for future generations." So he definitely backpedaled, like on. He covered all his bases at the end of it, right?
Yeah. I guess we mentioned last week though, but like the not admitting it right after is kind of like
No, listen.
protect your
here-
ass type of thing. Like if a cop pulled you over and you're like, yeah, blah, 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 and then he writes you a ticket, then you can't go fight that in court. But if the cop pulls you over and you're like, I didn't do anything, he's like, I'll see you in court, buddy. And then you can have a chance to like, you know, like maybe they forgot what actually happened, or like
Listen,
it's denial, but
that statement
it's
was
not being a man either.
that statement was yeah. These are words that didn't come out of Sebastian Vettel's mouth. But look this name up.
What was the
look this
how
name
many
up.
hours? What community service?
I'm still
did
trying to
you-
look it up.
Okay, yeah. Well, while you look it up, Mike, can you just put something on the screen right now?
Yeah.
I just want you to look up a name, okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you who wrote this little thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Britta, Britta,
Yeah.
I used to use
Roske.
those water filters.
Roeske. Britta Roske. Roski, whatever.
Oh, she knows all his dirty secrets.
No. See, so let me tell you what happened here. Let me tell you the truth of this like whitewash PR statement. Britta, she's been with Vettel since his Red Bull days forever.
The
She
beginning.
is Vettel's PR person. Whenever there's a statement released by Sebastian Vettel, you best believe that because she gets paid for this, that's her job. She put that shit together. Come on, Vettel. Like, I'm telling you right now. Like, you're a fucking 30-year-old man. He turned 30 on Monday. You're a 30-year-old man. Fucking grow some balls and, like, man up and come up and say, like, all right, Lewis, like, I fucked up. Mea culpa. Like, simple as that. Like, this is part of being a man.
Yeah. It's,
Don't get Brita to fucking. Everybody knows. Okay, well, and if they didn't, they know now. Those words are British words. They're not Vattel's words.
For sure, same as your president, your prime minister, your governor, your dictator.
It's all bullshit,
They don't
though.
write- yeah, it's bullshit.
So Sebastian Vettel also had 3 penalty points applied to his FIA Super license.
Yes, and
Yeah.
if he gets
Those-
3 more before Silverstone,
Yeah.
he will get 1 race ban.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is a
If he gets 3 more this weekend, basically.
this is a fairly new thing that's being brought into F1. Is
Yeah.
It's kind of like we in Canada, in Ontario, with your street driver's license, you get points,
Yeah.
and if you do too many bad things, you get your points built up, and then your insurance company can check how many points you have. Your insurance gets jacked. You can earn suspensions as well. I'm sure most provinces, states, countries have something similar. But yeah, he's been a bad boy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what we think about it.
On to Austria.
Yeah, well, before we are on to Austria, though.
What's up?
Cool. Well, actually, no. Let's talk about Austria. We'll talk about engines later.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's talk about Austria.
Right.
This is the bigger news. So last week, Mike learned that Austria only has 9 corners. But today, we all learned there are now actually 10.
Haha.
So like corner 2, it's so lame. Between corner 1 and corner 2, which is the top of the hill, like the hairpin,
Yeah.
that little kink there has now been called corner 3. We were told at the start of the season that, these new F1 cars, they got so much grip, they go so fast. Some of these corners aren't even corners anymore. We're going to have less corners on every track.
No.
The cars would just fly through. This track has extra.
Practically less
Practically.
corners. Like when they're driving, it's gonna feel like one less corner.
So basically, put your mouse down, right about, no, up, slightly up. Yeah, about right there. That little kink, a bit lower on the track. Yeah, that
right
kink,
here?
that's corner 2 now. Yeah. Because MotoGP has been racing at this circuit now, and for the bikes, I guess you have to slow down a bit. An F1 car just goes flat through there.
Right.
But typically, they call a corner when you have to touch the brakes. You have to slow down or change gears for it. That's a corner.
Well,
So-
not always.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Typically, but for whatever reason, the FIA is following suit with the FIM and putting 10 corners on this on the list for this year and forever after, I guess. So whatever. But we're looking
I like
at
this track a lot. Like like the line.
it's very short. It's very
Yeah.
simple.
very short, very simple. Yet it always manages to throw surprises, and it's been like that forever. Like even the old drivers remember, like in old school F1, they remember this track for being like notoriously short, but still like that didn't make a difference. In another set of circumstances, maybe having a short track wouldn't have worked, but over here with the elevation,
Yeah.
the kind of winds that they get, the unpredictability of the terrain of the actual track, but also the high altitude. So they are like way up in the mountains, like almost right by the Alps.
Sidetrack here. This just one point I was asking. Yusuke Hasegawa, he's the Honda head. He has expressed some concern that the high altitude of the Austrian circuit might actually affect performance of the Honda. So he's just covering his ass.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
Oh, you never know.
the car's gonna break down. This time it's probably gonna be because of altitude
yeah,
or
so-
something.
yeah,
when you
so-
go higher.
So now you know what I'm gonna
Is
say.
that
in
is
the
this the one
post
with
race.
the Rouge Hill? Or what?
No,
That's
in Belgium.
That's Spa.
Spa.
Sorry,
You're
But-
still learning. That's fine.
I'm learning.
Yeah,
It's
still learning.
3 years in, but I'm learning.
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years.
It's kind of odd with this track. It seems like it's way shorter than the Canada track, but the Canada track is really skinny, right? Like
Yeah.
the island is only so narrow. But Canada's 70 laps. This is only 71. It's slightly shorter, but it is a shorter lap, much less corners.
And because it's quicker, like all around, like or more flowy, it feels like the lap times are shorter.
We're actually looking at most likely the shortest qualifying lap of any race
That's-
of all time this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So here's what happens, Mike. When you go up in altitude,
Yeah.
and if you have like one of the standard old engines, like
Right.
the V8 or whatever, things that were what they call normally aspirated.
Right.
So normally aspirated means no turbo.
Right.
So things without a
They're
turbo
relying on the oxygen within the atmosphere.
to make the combustion.
Right.
Because these engines with the turbo, yes, the air is thinner,
Right.
but then you just pull the turbo all the
There
way
you go.
up, and it might actually
You can
happen.
still compress the air in there.
Yeah, it might actually happen that yes, that they might see like the highest speeds here.
And the cars can go quicker. I wouldn't say the highest speeds.
No,
but you'll get
Monza's
the
probably
quickest-
still
the quickest lap.
The quickest lap.
Mexico is gonna be the highest speed.
Oh,
Mexico's
maybe.
higher with the longest straight, much
Yeah.
longer straight.
Yeah.
You can see here from last year, they're getting about 320, 325 kilometers an hour. So, you know, in Canada they
I'm
were
not
going
sure where
over
this picture's
350.
from,
I
by the
believe.
way, so I'm not sure I would take.
That
It looks
it
professional.
is fairly new.
Race day
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can tell it's fairly new. But this track has been, this is its third iteration now. It used to be the Österreich Ring, and they held the race
A1
there.
ring.
They held the race there for like 18 years in the old Austrian ring that went
It
through
is.
the forest.
It's the 8th oldest track in the calendar.
Then it was the A1 ring, and then they started doing some construction there, ran out of money, and it sat empty for years upon years. And then Helmut Marko,
Dieter-
Dieter Mateschitz finally bought it of Red Bull, renamed it the Red Bull ring. And
After they no, you remember, this was the whole story when we were first talking about this. He basically, like, I mean, he wasn't a nice guy by buying it. He waited until his circuit bled dry and like bought it for peanuts on the dollar.
you got it like an auction, basically.
Yeah.
So you guys, those digging machines and stuff, you're just gonna leave those there, right?
Yeah.
You gonna give me the keys?
Yeah.
All the stuff around there. Yeah, I think. See, this I'm not sure about, but I saw a tweet earlier in the week from Ocon, and he said the tweet was a picture of a curb or a runoff of a racetrack that was painted pink, and he said something like, "We're not the only ones this weekend" or whatever. You know, Force India is all pink.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It would be. I don't know. I kind of hope it's not that they painted all the runoffs pink here.
Oh,
but it might have been.
yeah.
I'm not for sure. I didn't look deep into his tweet, but Ocon definitely posted some
we'll
pink
see.
runoffs from this week.
We'll see. Hey, one thing that I like, that I think it's, you know, you look at this track from here, from the aerial, and you'll never get like the kind of elevations that this track has.
Yeah, the hill from turn 1 to turn 3 now. What is turn 3 is that the
start
the
here.
bottom left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the front, and then down.
Well, they
No,
go this way or
yeah,
this way?
clockwise.
Clockwise.
So that last corner, front, first corner where the mouse is, that's the first corner, and then you go uphill, way uphill, hairpin, and then you go down a bit here, down, around, and then the middle part is flat, and then it comes down again. Like the last corner comes super down.
So
Steep.
so you know, at the end of that straight-ish, like after the start finish, like no, over the
Down
right
there?
after, like make it, no, keep going
Clockwise. Past
yeah.
corner 1.
Past corner
That's
one. Yeah,
corner
okay,
1.
so all of that at the very end, where that, like, let's call it a hairpin, I guess, a stretch hairpin, I guess. But
It's like a 60-degree corner.
depending on where the wind is pointing,
Yeah.
this track, I remember very clear, a couple of years ago, we saw cars skidding all over the place at the top of that hill
Huge
with
runoff.
the huge
Look how big
huge
that
wind.
runoff is.
Yeah, that's gonna be good for qualifying if it's a windy day.
Right.
Ooh,
And then on
that's
top of
actually-
that, like,
Yeah, let me see. Actually, you know what? While you say that, I'm gonna look up the radar and see what the weather's gonna be like.
Oh, I've already done it.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday, thunderstorms scattered.
Whoa! What?
Saturday, Sunday is 28, 29 degrees, but Sunday is scattered thunder showers. I looked this up like 2 hours ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
oh, jeez, that's gonna be cool.
So,
Now,
but still, it's 5 days away, so it might change. But
the
not.
the shark fin, is that gonna affect anything on that turn if it's
Absolutely.
windy?
Yes. Yeah. Depending on which
Okay.
way the wind is pointing, these cars get thrown about a little more. But what you lose, you win again. That's the whole argument with the shark fins. That
Right.
each team has it tuned so that whatever they think that they might lose, like because the car is getting like pushed a certain way on the straights,
Right.
they'll gain around the corners with the more stability down that same corner, even if the wind is pointing in the same direction. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
it's always a trade-off, like
Okay.
especially with an element like that. And just to remind everybody, what Adrian Newey said, that part is a big visual thing, but what it actually, like in terms of actual difference that it makes to the car and its handling, is actually very little. So it'll, yes, there will be a little bit of that,
Right.
but it's not
Right.
going to be a
It's
deciding
not that
factor
crazy.
unless we're talking about like driving on the limit situation, which is what drivers are gonna do during qualifying. So during qualifying, like maybe they were expecting the shark fin to like react a certain way, and if it didn't exactly how they expected it, then that goes the lap. You know, so then that's what I'm saying. Specifically for qualifying, that's gonna be important if it's windy.
On a very brief tangent, I'm curious on what you guys what the information says about the little T-wing on the backs of those shark fins. Has that
not much?
It's not much, right? It just kind of
again, no, yeah. Another thing that's easy to see, but it won't make a difference like altogether.
Yeah, like the last race, like Azerbaijan, like the second half of the race, Vettel's was hanging like 30 degrees off to the side. The whole race, it was just like wonky
it's
to the
just
side.
like
A bunch of them have snapped off this year, more than half a dozen. They just fly off. If you look, man, they'll be like this, or like even if it's 10 or 15 degrees, it's not doing what it's supposed to. It's just hanging there. But anyways, here's the long-term weather. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 28 and 29 Celsius. So temperature pretty consistent, but for racing days, driving days, Friday, Saturday, mostly sunny, and Sunday, scattered thunder showers.
Today, on Wednesday. What does it
Yeah,
say
it's
anything about
Wednesday.
wind?
Wind 8 kilometers an hour. So
So now, okay. So
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, low wind, just a little breeze. Nothing, no wind to catch anyone out.
So nothing to worry about. That's all right. That's all right.
So last week though, I said I was gonna find out some news about construction.
ooh.
So there's pretty much, if you search like the Red Bull Ring, Spielberg Ring, the A1 Ring construction, the West Loop, the West Schleife. There's no new news really, but I found one or two articles that kind of talk about it, because we saw pictures, we talked about it on the show last week, of bulldozers and paving machines and trucks of asphalt on the circuit. They repaved that chicane at the end of the first straight. It's called the Hella chicane or something, like the Hella lift chicane. That's what it's called. And then at the very top of the hill, before that hairpin, the last part of that big right-hander that comes off the edge of the forest was paved. They were working on that. We looked at pictures, we saw them, pulled them out. So I found this article here. If you want to find it yourself, the article is oh man, I screwed up here. It's from diepresse.com, diepresse.com, and then you can search for the Spielberg Ring. This article is actually from
Red Bull Ring. Red Bull Ring, whatever.
Diepresse.com is the
Red Bull
this
Ring.
is the Austrian newspaper.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
The press. This article is from the 22nd of June, so it's just 2 weeks ago. Basically, Helmut Marko is in this talking about saying, yeah, we did start the construction. You can see it in the aerial photographs, but you know, it wasn't 100% to what the designer had specified, and there's, I guess, a Spielberg castle near there. The owner of it for the past 14 years has been complaining about noise and has not tired. Hopefully, I'm gonna hope for Sun. I tried as hard as I could today. I didn't have enough time to find who this guy is and what his fight has been and stuff.
Can we call him on the podcast?
Yeah, I want to.
Let's call him.
I want to try to send him something.
Let's call him. Let's call him.
Let's try. For Sunday after the race, I'm gonna find out what's going on over there. So.
Yes.
So they basically stopped the construction, and you know, Helmut Marko's like, yeah, obviously the drivers will love this. The outside of that giant corner at the top of the forest has no runoff. It's just trees and grass. They can race there. All kinds of different series. I don't know, man.
Series is serious, bud.
Yeah, I know. But in this context, it's hard to. But man, that's basically what was it. And there's this photograph here. Hold this up to the camera there so people can see who's who. So slide it up so you can see their faces. One of those guys is the liberal see. Okay, yeah. See if you can guess. People who are watching, the guy on the left or the guy on the right. Go closer to the camera. Get their faces a bit closer, a bit higher. Yeah, there we go. The guy on the left is from the Liberal Party, and the guy on the right is from the Conservative Freedom Party. And they're fighting it out. So Austria is having a national election on October 15th. And Helmut Marko said, you know, one of these guys is going to make it bureaucratically possible for us to open this, and the other one is going to make it really difficult.
Shit, who's gonna be?
Yeah, so basically
my money's on like slick hairback dude.
on the right.
Yeah, on the
On the left.
the screen left.
The screen left is he's the good guy.
Okay. Good.
Look at his face in full with like full quality with your eyes.
Look
Look at the guy. This guy looks like a fucking. He's in the Spielberg castle. Up in the attic.
He's gonna get shit done. He's gonna drive his ass to Martin after, and like
Yeah, look at this guy. Looks like he sleeps with bats in the attic of the Spielberg castle.
So
He's
this is
gonna suck that
the
guy's
guy
ass.
that would suck.
Yeah.
I feel like Oh no, I don't want to say that. Never mind. I take that. I don't know. I won't even say it.
Well done.
Yeah. Well done, Baku.
Basically, they started building the loop and thought that we're gonna get this done. It's gonna be built. Everyone's gonna love it, and then there's not gonna be anything standing in the way. But they're like, the Austrian government at this point isn't fully convinced that the monetary value of having that circuit in their country is gonna be worth it to piss off the people that live near there, which isn't a lot. You were just looking at the aerial photographs of the area. There's like 8 farms.
It's mostly cows
around there. It's all cows and
mostly
one
cows.
old ass dude. So I don't know if you have to wait for his castle to collapse or
No,
something.
no. You know what this dude wants. He wants Skrilla.
Wants some money.
Yeah.
Skrilla.
But the article too is saying, like there's decibel limits and stuff. He's like, we're basically keeping within them. But he has recorders and stuff and measures the decibels. That's what Helmut Marko said. This guy measures the decibels.
This guy sucks.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a neighbor like that?
If you want that,
I've
West
had neighbors like
Schleifer.
that. Fuck that.
Yeah, we're gonna try to find this guy for Sunday.
You're breathing too loud, sir.
See if we can talk to him.
Excuse me.
That's the story though. I was so excited, man, because last year they were posting, we're working on this now. They started in April last year, that we want this to be constructed by the time we come back in July 2017 and race on it.
Absolutely.
In Formula One.
All right. It's gonna be a short show today, so let's try to move to the next one. But before we move away from Austria,
Yeah.
you know who hasn't been on the podium there ever? Sebastian Vettel.
Lance Stroll.
Ooh.
What about Lance Stroll?
Well, no, but Sebastian Vettel.
But what about Lance
Yeah,
Stroll?
what
then?
about Lance Stroll,
Vettel.
dude?
But Lance Stroll.
Well, Lance Stroll hasn't been on the podium on most of them.
Yeah, but he was on the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we're gonna go,
So. Baku, welcome to Saul.
yes.
Do you want to touch on this engine meeting?
So this is brilliant. I fucking some leadership in F1.
I want to see the notes,
was
man. I want to
missing.
read the notes.
It was missing.
I want to read the minutes
It
from
was
that meeting.
missing. It was
Treasure.
It was missing some fucking leadership in the sense of fucking getting shit done and pushing shit through the way that Ross Braun is doing it. Love it. Fucking love it.
All 3 of those, the wise men.
Yes. Oh yeah, all 3 of them.
Props to all
Yeah,
3
yeah.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Bratches.
Yeah. And
Mr. Carey.
Mr. Carey.
Mr. Braun.
Yeah. So, they are letting
Eyebrows,
in,
mustache, and beard.
they're letting in some people into this engine meetings
Yeah.
with the bait that, don't worry, if you come in as a new engine supplier, you have all kinds of flexibility.
That's right.
Because that is something. So Ross Braun must have spent all day and all night reading and rereading and rereading exactly what the contract to the letter of the law said, and he must have found a loophole
To the Concord Agreement?
to not to the Concord Agreement, but to the FIA regulations, technical regulations that locked down the engine.
All the engine
Yeah.
manufacturers meetings.
Yeah.
Well, this-
no,
this-
not the meetings, just the engine, because here's the bait. So
Oh.
I see. So before that, there's gonna be an upcoming FIA meeting. Do you know when it actually is? In September.
The next engine meeting, September, yeah.
Okay, so for this meeting in September, they're actually on top of like the current F1 manufacturers of engines, and so to recap, we're talking about only 4 groups: McLaren, Honda, shit, haven't done anything.
Poo.
Right? Renault still haven't figured it out.
Poo.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, they're working on it.
I mean, they have
Yeah.
Joy and Poomer.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry, guys.
Ferrari that only just got their shit together recently,
That's true.
and Mercedes that have been dominating.
Yeah.
Right? But on top of that, so that's only 4, right? We're talking about expanding this meeting, like, by adding 4 more people into it. Crucially, 4 more people.
Porsche and Audi have been interested back and forth.
Yeah,
the whole
and
Volkswagen thing kind of.
still doesn't matter. None of them are making an appearance.
Oh yeah, they have not.
Yeah, no. We're talking about
Cosworth and Aston Martin came this week.
Those are the big, serious
big ones.
names.
Yeah. Cosworth used to be the engine in the V10
No.
and V8 days. In the V8 days especially.
The alternative engine.
Yeah, but they were killing. They were winning championships.
They were,
with that
but
shit.
they were only an engine manufacturer. Like you got to
right.
so let's look at it in that perspective.
Right,
They didn't come from cars. Although when they were winning championships, they had a technical partnership and like
Wasn't
a
there,
backing with
Lotus?
Ford. With Ford.
Well, Ford Lotus kind of.
No. Well, but yeah, but it was through Cosworth, Ford Cosworths. The
Yeah.
Ford Cosworths, they made an impact in F1, but still, it was just limited to an engine partnership that Ford benefited from. It wasn't the other way around, other than in money. Like Cosworth, like had got the money and the research. So, yeah, the engines were still built in Britain.
Yeah.
So, for the Ford, so Cosworth actually has a history in F1 supplying specifically independent engines.
Right.
Whenever, like, it used to be that you'd get a Cosworth engine if you were an independent team, like from out of nowhere that just wanted to like give F1 a try. You'd still be able to get maybe not a championship winning engine, but at least a decent enough engine to put you in the midfield. You know what I mean?
Have some fun on the weekend, you know.
Yeah. Get some money, get your car on TV every once in a while, make it worth it for sponsors,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cosworth makes sense. Aston Martin, through their very complicated ownership structure, also makes sense.
Yeah, that's why they showed up for sure.
They're in the same market. They're direct competitors to both the high-end Mercedes and the high-end Ferrari. Well, all the Ferraris. So they have another incentive to join. They're now owned by India, though. So who knows?
You gotta wonder too if there's any secret incentives built on, because these engines aren't coming until 2021. Obviously, you need to start working 1 or 2 years ahead, 18 months ahead. But the 2021 is the first time we're gonna see them on track.
No, we're talking about this is what we're saying. There might be a speedier introduction of these engines because Ross Brawn and his team might have found a loophole for new entrants where they can like either change the rules or relax the rules a little bit, so that they might. And this is all, and that's what's interesting. That's what's interesting because so you know when let's put it to you. Let me put it to you this way: when Renault and Honda both entered or came back to F1 for the engine projects, we had the tokens.
They were locked in the token system.
Yes, they were locked in the token system.
Of course, I remember the tokens.
And that got relaxed, right?
They got eliminated.
But you're right. Also altogether. So
Yeah.
if Ross Brawn found a way for new entrants to like even relax the rules a little more, we might actually see like a bit of a two-tier championship where like for at least a year or two until 2021, because I think it's a more of an immediate problem that they want to solve.
I haven't thought of it, but yeah, I guess you're right. Because there will not be a new engine formula until 2021 on the circuit. But on top of this, though, separately, he actually offered in the media, maybe personally too, privately, offered Honda help. If Honda wants help, they can come to us and we can help them in certain areas to become more competitive and basically trade secrets. He's like, yeah, if Honda wants help, we can give it to them. We want a bunch of we want more competition. So he's offering that. But see, as far as we know, at the Canadian Grand Prix, the three wise men had about a 50-minute press conference that we watched on the patio there.
Yes.
They had a 50-minute press conference, and they basically said, Ross Brawn pretty much said, right now it's kind of looking like we're going to stick with the V6, same displacement with a bi-turbo, and get rid of the ERS system because it's too complicated, but sticking with a KERS system and probably like doubling or maybe even quadrupling the battery is what I've seen bandied around. Like upping the battery power and the motor power, or perhaps even putting 2 motors on the front and having a 4-wheel drive. That could be possible.
Sick.
Any combo of that, any combo of that is
good.
good. But there will not be there's not going to be going back with old technology. Not going to be upping the displacement. Most likely,
You can't take a
you're
step
not taking
backwards.
away the curse. The curse is there forever. The ERS is kind of
the curse makes sense. Recovering energy from braking makes sense.
I think the ERS, if you got rid of it for like a formula or two, like 6 or 8 years, and then you bring it back, then by that time, software.
It's not about that. It's not like the question with the ERS is not whether or not it's worth it to recover some energy from the heat of the engine.
Oh, of course
that is a worthwhile endeavor
of
all
course,
day,
but it's
all,
too
every
complex
day.
and too expensive.
Yes. No, and they've locked themselves into a technology that might not actually be sustainable for the future. We actually
road
already
relevance,
have, we already have stuff that's way better than the technology that F1 locked itself into. That's the problem.
Yeah. It won't be taking any steps back, but I see both of those going those ways. No ERS, probably around the engine that he suspected, but yeah, what you said there kind of makes sense. To be honest, I don't really see it, because you're not going to build an engine for 2018 if you haven't started yet. And then for 2019, you're going to say, we're going to build a whole engine for 2 years?
No, but here's the thing.
Probably not.
No, but here's the thing. How about if the compromise is that the way that the rules are going to be relaxed is to like kind of allow these teams like Aston Martin and like so I just actually, before I even get to that, there's 4 serious teams that are, or like 4 people that will be there. Aston Martin, Cosworth, both of them like that can actually probably pump out engines, and F1 like at least mid-tier level engines. Those are the 2, but there's 2 more. The third group involved is Magneti Marelli. Magneti Marelli, yeah. They're there for so they basically make alternators. They make like, so the alternator, if you don't know, is like what the part of your car, like even your road car, that converts the spinning motion of the shaft of the engine into like some sort of electrical that runs all the electronics in your car
and roll your windows up and down.
Yeah, so obviously in such an engine driven or an electric driven formula as this one is, alternators are playing a huge part. And the problem, again, the reason to include Magneti Marelli in this discussion, of course, when we're talking about the future, is because Magneti Marelli's concerns about the future of F1 are the same as the ERS. They're saying that the way that the F1 current engine regulations are stipulated, it's kind of locking them and locking every single alternator manufacturer into a technology that might or might not be relevant in the future. So they want more flexibility there as well. So that's Magneti Marelli. And the 4th one is this company called Zytek. Have you ever heard of it?
I have.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I haven't.
So
I couldn't tell you much about them, but yes, I've heard the name from the car industry.
So they make right now, currently, or up until now, the biggest claim to fame is they make an engine for the LMP, not LMP1, the LMP2 category that competes in Le Mans, and their highest victory has been an 8th place with one of their engines.
That's not bad.
In the LMP2 category.
Still not bad, depending how long you've been around.
If they have a big enough wallet, I guess, like they'll probably like make a dent, but it's at least.
Maybe that's the Jeep. Or sorry, never mind.
What, the F2?
No, I was confusing 2 things.
Okay, well, either way, like to me, like that seems getting them in. Like I don't know how serious Zytek are, and that's why nobody's actually bringing them up. But
maybe they're just like, hey, man, it would be pretty cool if we could sneak our way into this F1 engine meeting and go have fun for the F1. It'd be pretty cool, right?
We'll get to hang out with Ross Brawn, man.
Shake some hands.
Let's go hang out with Ross Brawn. No, I think that they're there, like, or they might actually. Who knows? They might just be there as a gesture, as a sign from the powers that be of F1 to like kind of be like, you know what? If you want to be Zytek and if you want to come to these meetings, we're open to you. Why not?
Yeah, they have to. They can't if they tell a small company like that, hey, you know, this is like Formula One.
We're letting
Bernie,
Cosworth
Bernie
in and Martin in, and Aston Martin in, but not you.
Yeah. Well, Aston Martin and Cosworth are bigger, obviously, but at the same time, they told those guys like, hey, you know, this is Formula One. Then that's the Bernie days.
Yeah,
you got to be open. Anyone that wants to participate, why wouldn't? Yeah, this.
Fantastic.
That's the way you do it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. Awesome. Yeah. Can't wait to see what the future has.
Can't wait. All right, we're getting close to like wrapping it up, so.
I got one more for you because last week we were talking about Eddie Jordan, and you were like, kind of like, oh, who's that guy? What does he do now? What has he done? Where does he go? We were just kind of like, you know, he's like one of the pundits on Channel 4.
He used to own a team.
He used to race Formula One. And
not Formula One.
Oh yeah.
But he never made it.
But yeah,
he never made it.
he's kind of a feather ruffler kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
One of those.
Yeah, he's a pot stirrer.
That's what we were talking about last week. So between then and now, I guess, or sometime last week, he said that he was pretty sure that Mercedes would pull the plug after 2018. They're going to compete this year, run out next year, hopefully win the championship, and pull out the team. And Toto Wolff got pissed. Basically, Toto Wolff got pissed. And Toto Wolff talks a lot on Sky. And but basically he said, we have 1,500 people in the factory, and we can't be talking about these kinds of rumors. These people have jobs. And he's kind of like, these you can't just make up called Eddie Jordan fake news. So you can't just make shit like that up about our team. Like, we're in this for the long haul. We bought a team. We're an engine manufacturer. Eddie Jordan didn't say they would stop making engines, but he shot back and said, listen, I stick by what I said. Toto Wolff's got his job to protect. He's got his image to protect, and he's got the image of Mercedes Racing and Petronas to protect. Yeah, to uphold. Yeah. And but basically that the Petronas and OBS contract ends after 2018. And to renegotiate would be like 5 or 7 years.
And we already know that Malaysia is like done with Formula One.
Yeah, at least. Well, actually, they said soon with the new owners now that they would be open for coming back if it was under completely new terms, and without Bernie. But we know that they've redesigned their circuit to suit
motorbikes,
MotoGP, and motorcycles specifically. And basically, Eddie Jordan's counterpoint was that. Are we gonna stop me in the middle of my point?
No,
you have to fucking piss or
just
something?
go. No, man. We don't want to be bad tenants either.
What? Who's here? What are you doing, man?
All right, go.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Eddie Jordan.
Yeah. Anyways, he's talking about the shareholders. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, to re-sign for a commitment of 5 to 7 more years in Formula One, building a car, promoting drivers, promoting subcategories, doing commercials, spending the amount of money that they're spending, $450 million a year plus.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't make sense to the board at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say like who's right, because both sides really make sense, but
I think it's if you were to tell me that right now, actually when you mentioned that right now, I thought 100% true. They are leaving because they're
a car manufacturer, but
Volvo,
the engine, like, why would they?
Well, Volvo,
they probably wouldn't stop.
Volvo is already they've already announced that obviously Volvo, it's not an F1, but Volvo as a company has already announced that after 2021 their lineup is going to be completely electric. Mercedes has announced that by 2030 their lineup is going to be completely electric. If they don't see a value in spending the amount of research and development money that they're spending in F1 right now for the future, then that's a straight equation.
Eddie Jordan would
be
right.
It doesn't even have to make like people's opinions don't even matter. If it doesn't make sense from an accounting point of view, it just simply won't happen.
Yeah, man.
We gotta go.
All right, we gotta go.
All right, guys. We will see you next week sometime. And
guys are super late. Let's go. We'll be back on Sunday after the
race. Oh my God, that's really loud. Sorry.
Yeah. love this. Thanks for sticking
All right,
around. No, wait. Come to Betty's if you're anywhere near Toronto. This Sunday, 2 p.m. for the pre-show, 3 p.m. the race. And other than that, follow us, hit us with a like. This song and the one that we open with is available at listentobamboo.com. Give those guys a love.
Thanks
That's
to
Mike's
Girth
band
Radio
right there.
for the beer.
Yeah, Girth Radio.
Hit subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see you guys later.